Oh, we came so close last year. 2 wins away from a world championship. Gets me excited to get back at it for season 2. Bobby Bash and his 200 strikeouts decided to leave town. Ralph Blue wanted more money, as did Horace Heimlich. So we'll replace him with someone who's not just better, but better looking. We eventually come to terms with Ralph Blue, but not with Bash. So we'll try to fill that gap with Cheyenne Hill. Freed up some cash getting Turbo Miles. Heimlich's a tiger. Then we get crazy, cutting Ozzie Smith and bringing in Charlie Lopez so we could bring in Paul Molitor. Also freed up some cash bringing in Brett Butler. Average age of those guys, 38 years old, so hopefully they can all hold it together. Opening days at Apple Field. A rematch of last year's Super Mega Series. Every team's going with the sleeves on the jerseys, looks a lot better. Willie Bacon up with 1 on, 1 out in the first, takes Don Sutton yard. Let that bacon sizzle, baby. Bases loaded, 1 out in the 5th for last year's home run and RBI champion, Juice Jackson. Hurley Bender gets him to ground into the 4-6-3 double play. Lloyd Cook's soaring triple in the 6th brings in Willie Bacon, and Vegas dominates the money on opening day. Bacon, a home run and 2 doubles. We take 2 out of 3 in the opening series. Our next stop, Texas. What an insane backdrop at the Corral. Willie Bacon had a hell of a series in New York. Keeps it going in Texas with a double into the right center gap. Then in the second, a solo shot to straightaway center right into the jungle they got out there for a batter's eye. 4 bombs in 4 games. Not a bad start. The Outlaws continued to pound the Wranglers in the sim and took 2 out of 3 in the series. Our home opener, we welcome in the Windy City Wheelers. Top of the first, 2 outs, John Renero's soaring triple off Frank Tanana brings in 2. Leading off the third, Masha Donga hits one out straightaway sender off Tanana. 448 feet, I don't think a chick could ever be able to do that, and I mean a real chick. Vegas comes from behind and turns this one into a blowout, leading to a sweep of the Wheelers. 13 games in and we're 7-6, and headed out to Stade Royale in Montreal. I'm checking out the Montreal biosphere out there. Paul Molitor leading off takes Rusty Nozzle out of here. Molitor and his Alice Cooper looking ass with 4 home runs. 2 batters later, it's Lloyd Cook taking Nozzle out of here to right this time. The Outlaws continue to dominate in the sim. Game number 29 and we're going for our 10th win in a row. An epic pitching matchup, Hurley Bender against Babe Ruth. Vegas, looking for the sweep at Parque Jardineros. What a spectacular scene at this third world country. The starting pitchers combined for 13 innings pitched, 20 strikeouts, and only 1 earned run. Hack Liner and his insane numbers lead off the 6th. His double to right off Bender chases him from the game. Johnny Damon's base hit off Matt Gunn gets the Jardineros on the board. Slapper Glute comes on with 2 on, 2 out in the 8th. His slapper to center brings in the pinch-running Turbo Miles, and we're all tied up at 1. Next up, Paul Molitor. And Babe Ruth sends him down swinging. 2 on, 1 out in the 8th for Edgar Martinez. The single to center off Jeff Nelson. The throw from Willie Bacon to the plate is late. That's all Venezuela needed. Vegas win streak ends at 9. Ozzie Smith gets picked up by the last placed Hawaiian Islanders. Game number 59, we're 3 games above 500 and 4.5 back of first place. Our big chance to move up the standings as we head out to LA to take on the Legends. We blow 2 3-run leads in game 1, leading to a Legends sweep. At 500 through 62 games, it's time to make some moves. Lloyd Cook's having a pedestrian year, so we bring in 37-year-old Hopper Fenster. Flay Jones is struggling. We upgrade to 38-year-old Alan Trammell. Then we drop 2 out of 3 in Texas. At the halfway point, we lose a shootout to first place Colorado and fall to 3 games below 500. Batting numbers of our old-ass roster. Ricky McFarland and Bale Boozer stinking up the bullpen at the back end. Hurley Bender another sensational year, cracking the top 10. Fast forward 99 games into the season, we're 9 games below 500 and 18 games behind first place. Time to tank. Hopper Fenster was a bust. Welcome back, Windy Wheels. Bale Bozzer has been expensive trash, and so has Ricky McFarland. So now we're earning more player development funds, and it's +7 for Hurley Bender. Hell, let's keep selling. Alan Trammell's gotta go. And so does Paul Molitor, a failed experiment, and we'll learn from it. And we let go of Slapper Glute's $11 million contract. And eventually, we bring back Filet Jones. Babe Ruth let go by the Jardineros. Who's having a good year for them again, but the team around him still sucks. Hammer Longballo, replaced on the steam by Willie Bacon's brother Wally. Longballo with a more productive season this year, but Louisiana 10.5 games behind the Storms with 15 to play. Colorado goes on a spending spree, dropping $25 million on Jovita Pulo, $11 million on Reggie Smith, and another $8 million on our old buddy Lloyd Cook. The Aviators 8 games ahead in first with 6 to go. The Motor City Cruisers start spending, dropping $20 million on Slash Trips, $20 million on Babe Ruth, yeah, this ain't the 1920s, and $10 million on our old buddy Bale Bozzer. And now I can see why. They passed up the money in the standings and are 2 up with 1 to play. That 1 to play is against us, Bob Feller versus Babe Ruth. We get to Babe early, but they come away with the win. Here are the final standings. Vegas finishes 14 games below 500 and tied with Texas for last place. In direct contrast of SMB3, the hitters dominate the top 10. I gotta get some power in our lineup. We had next to none of that this year. Bobby Bash, only 172 strikeouts this year. Cheyenne Hill among the stolen base leaders. Our guys dropped out of the pitching rankings. Check that. Matt Gunn, one of the best opponents' batting averages, and Hurley Bender among the strikeout leaders. Some strange moves right after the season ended. Seattle picked up Hammer Longballo for $21 million. Meow Bubkins for $14 million, Oakley Stiffs for $10 million, and Juan Marichal for $11 million. All this after they finished tied with Seoul for the best record in the Pacific Division, but I guess the Tigers are in the tiebreaker. So they loaded up themselves, getting our old closer Ricky McFarland and our failed experiment Paul Molitor. Okay, we missed the playoffs, got it. But we've got $34 million in cap space and nearly $9 million saved up in player development funds. Look out for us next year. As for this year, Babe Ruth against Slip Slaughter in Game 1 of the Super Conference Finals. Motor City jumps ahead and holds off the Storm comeback. Rick Rochelle against Jovita Pulo. All Tigers in this one. In fact, both series go to 3-0 deficits, with the lower-ranked teams taking the leads. The Cruisers look to finish off the Storms in 4. Day baseball at the Motor Yard. The Cruisers look inspired by the swinging A's, and what a backdrop here. Jeff Bagwell leads off the first for Motor City. Looks at one pitch from lefty Southpalm and sends it out of here. Bagwell's 4th homer of the series. Bagwell up in the second with the bases loaded adds a couple more RBIs. Then next up is Mike Piazza. Sends this one to dead center to make it 6-1 Cruisers. Bottom of the 4th at 6-4, Izzy Baker with the 2-run shot off Brad Ziegler. Still nobody out in the 4th. Babe Ruth comes up with 2 on, then absolutely destroys this one. I think he sends it out onto the street. 493 feet. Good God. The Cruisers win a wild one, 16-8. The teams combine for 9 home runs, and how about this top of a batting order? Soul Tigers going for the sweep of the Colorado Aviators. We've seen that before. It didn't work out, but this is a whole other universe. 1-0 Colorado as Boozle Doozy Shine steps in. Make that 2-0. Sends the off-speed pitch from Lola Knapp's way out of here. Doozle Shine's 3rd home run of the series. 3-0 Colorado as leading off the 6th is Reggie Smith. On one pitch, takes Steve Bedrosian out of here. A moonshot to the second deck. Aviators live to see another day. Can they take advantage of a banged up Vita Blue and force the series back to Colorado? Under the lights at the Tiger Den. Doozle Shine wastes no time getting to blue. The 2-run shot in the first inning lands in the 3rd deck. Still in the 1st. Bases are loaded, the pitch gets away from Frank Battery. Reggie Smith coming home, and he's out. Muffin Studwick cuts the Colorado lead in half with this bomb off Tom Glavine in the 2nd. 1 on, 1 out in a tie game in the 6th for Reggie Smith. Smokes, the 2-2 pitch from Def Wedham's way out of here. 474 feet, Smith's 2nd home run of the series, and he'll let him know about it. Mash Taters leads off the bottom half of the 6th. Off one pitch from Tom Glavine, he chips away at that Colorado lead. Taters' 3rd bomb of the series. 2 outs, tie game in the 7th for the league home run leader, Willie Mays. Looks at one pitch from Joanna Heater and sends it out of here. The next batter, Mash Taters, does the exact same thing. Robin Yount goes straight away center off Holder Close in the 8th, and the Soul Tigers are headed to the Super Mega Series. 5 home runs off Soul bats, including 2 from Taters. Sets up the Tigers going to Motor City. as Vita Blue gets banged around again. Sol gets ahead of Mike Mussina and evades a cruiser comeback. Game 3 is all Motor City early, holding off a Tiger comeback. Game 4, very similar to Game 3, just a lot more runs are scored. The Cruisers look to bang around Vita Blue again, and avoid taking this series back to the Motor City. Well, it's already 4-0 in the first when Izzy Baker steps in. This 3-run blast off Blue makes it 7-0. Why does this game hate Vita Blue so much? He just died. Yo-Yo Yamamoto with a solo shot in the bottom half of the first gives some life to the Tigers, but then Hito Moonshada quickly puts the Cruisers back up by 7. Vita Blue still pitching in the third and Slash Trips takes advantage, making it 10-1 Motor City. Bases loaded in the sixth for Javi Lopez against our old buddy Horace Heimlich. The single to center clears the bases and it's 13-1. Tigers ain't going down without a fight. Mashed Taters, the 2-run shot in the 6th. Muffin Studwick, the solo shot in the 7th. Willie Mays, a 2-run blast in the 7th. But then Slash Trips with a couple insurance runs in the 9th. Doesn't deter Paul Molitor from hitting a 3-run homer in the bottom of the 9th. Frank Battery pops out to Lynetta Bonetta, and that finally ends it. The Cruisers storm the field. The Season 2 MBLE champions, and the crowd can't take enough pictures of it. 16-10 was the final score of this. The teams combined for 9 home runs. 9 hitters in the top 10 for the playoffs. That's a wrap on that. See you next year!